Hey everyone, so today I want to share something with you that I believe should have been taught in schools. This is one of the most proven ways to become a millionaire. This is how anybody with $100 a week can become a millionaire. I'm going to share this with you in this video. I'm not trying to stuff some BS $1,000 course down your throat. This is totally free information. So if you enjoy it, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like if you want to see more videos like this one, and let's get started with this. Now, I'm sorry to say, but this isn't a way to make $1 million in a week. If it was, I'd just be making $1 million a week and I wouldn't be making this video. So it's going to take time, and that's the most important thing to think about. That's why it's one of the most proven ways to do this, because it's one of the easiest, and I don't want to say laziest ways to accumulate wealth and become a millionaire, but it can be quite passive in terms of the actual amount of energy and effort that goes into this strategy that I'm going to show you in this video. So the idea here, kind of the key word that you need to remember, is Roth IRA. Now, we're going to break down a couple different strategies that you can use for getting this $1 million with $100 a week. But when you look at people like Warren Buffett, right, billionaire, he has so much money rolling in, but he's actually been quoted as saying that he pays less in taxes as a percentage of his income than his secretary. So if you think about that, you say, wait a minute, a billionaire is making a lot of money, and then his secretary is probably making maybe $100,000 a year at the most, but he's paying less in taxes as a percentage of his income. How is that possible? Well, it turns out that the US government kind of gives us these different loopholes and ways to save money on taxes and essentially make more money. Well, you and I can apply that in a different way than what billionaires do. We can use something known as the Roth IRA strategy. Now, this is something that everyday people like us can use to become a millionaire. And so the way that you can do this, I'm going to explain this, kind of break this down into a few different sections here. But it's essentially a gift from the government to help us retire and save for retirement, because as much money as the government might take from us in taxes, they still don't want to see us homeless when we're 85 years old, because they don't want us to run out of money and then they're paying for us to keep us alive. They're not going to let us die on the side of the road, so they got to keep us alive. They don't want to see that happen. So they want us to retire, right? And so because of that, they give us this Roth IRA opportunity. And so the way to take advantage of this, the way I think of it, I think of an IRA, a Roth IRA, as sort of like a house or a shell, and you can fill it with different investments and different types of securities like stocks and bonds and mutual funds and various other types of investment vehicles, right? So you put those inside of the house. It's kind of like the furniture going inside the house, and the IRA is the actual house, right? So hopefully that's kind of an explanation that makes sense. If not, let me know down below and I'll kind of try to explain it a little bit better. But in itself, an IRA is nothing. You just got to fill it with things. It's like opening up a brokerage account or opening up a bank account. It's just opening up a separate different kind of account that's known as an IRA account, okay? So you're opening up a Roth IRA account. I'm going to show you how to do that throughout this video and some strategies that you can use. But the way that this works is that you're essentially taxed upfront on your income. So when you get your paycheck, you might see a pay stub and you'll see that you're taxed federally and state taxes and all kinds of different taxes. But the money that you get left over, the money that actually gets deposited in your bank account, if you take that money and put it into this Roth IRA account and then you grow it over time, when you take money out of that account at age 59 and a half or older, you're not taxed on that money. And like I said, guys, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. So if you're into that, I'm sorry that this video is not this, but it's a way to show you one of the most proven ways to do this. So what this means is that if you have $1.8 million in that account over the course of your lifetime, then you're not taxed on it. And that's truly incredible to see that, being able to do that. And it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run, especially considering that taxes are fairly cyclical. And so right now, if you look into the past, you can see the taxes are actually somewhat low, at least compared to the 50s and the 60s. So with that being said, there's a good chance that you might be better off doing this strategy now, especially if you're young, especially if you're on a lower income, you're at a low tax bracket right now, you put money into this account, get taxed 10 or 15 or 20%, whatever your average rate might be, and then you're not going to be taxed on it later on down the road. So let's just take a look at this graph here. You can see you put in $100 per week, right? $100 per week, so about $5,200 per year into this IRA account, this Roth IRA account. And doing this, you're able to average this out over from, say, let's just say age 18 to age 65, putting in $100 per week, so $5,200 per year. And we're going to say that the average return on investment is about 7% annually. Now, the key there is average, right? You might not make 7% every year. It could go down 10% next year. It could go down 20% next year. But the average return of the stock market, after accounting for inflation and after accounting for dividends reinvested, is about 7%. Okay, so if it goes down next year, It might just go up the year after. It probably will. Looking into the past, we can see over the past 100 years or so, about 7% growth. If we drag this out, age 18 to 65, by age 65, putting in $100 per week, just $100 per week, you have about $1.8 million in this account in untaxed money at age 65. So you'll be balling out when you're 65. And that is just something that I think is so not talked about in our society, and I don't know why people don't touch on IRAs very often, because it's not cool, it's not hip to invest money. But if you do this, you're going to find yourself saving so much more money and having a better life financially for the rest of your life. And if you ask somebody who's 40 years old, you say, what's one regret that you might have in life? A lot of people are going to say, damn, I wish I started investing when I was 18 or 16 or even younger, because now I'm 35 and I'm trying to catch up and I'm trying to invest. But the compound interest is what's been quoted as the eighth wonder of the world. It's making money on your money. So every year your money makes more and more and more money on top of itself, that then makes more money on top of that money that you just made from making more money. Really, I'm telling you, this is a great strategy to go with. Now, as far as the types of investments that you can get into, I'm going to share some ones that I personally invest into. I'm not specifically telling you to invest into these different mutual funds and index funds. You're going to have to make those decisions on your own. If you completely mirror some random ass dude on the internet, then you might want to just kind of think about that a little bit more, okay? So I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm telling you that this is what I personally do, and it works for me, because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some guy, right? So the way that I do this is I have an account through something like Vanguard, right? So Vanguard offers this, E-Trade, Fidelity, I think even M1 Finance offers this as well, but I'm not getting paid by Vanguard to say this, right? Vanguard is one of the best financial institutions out there. They have, I believe they manage the second highest amount of assets in the world. So it's trillions of dollars worth of assets are managed by Vanguard. It's one of the most reputable companies in the world in terms of finances, okay? So you open up an account like this with Vanguard. It takes like 5 minutes, straight up like 5 minutes. It's like opening a bank account or opening an account for a brokerage account, right? You can do it almost entirely online, okay? And so setting up this account, then I personally would invest what I like to invest into are things like the overall stock market, because while it could maybe go down in the next year, 2 years, generally speaking, like I said, about a 7% annual growth rate over the long run. So I like to put my money into something like the S&P 500 index, which also has a really low expense ratio. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's not too complicated. It's just what they essentially take for managing that fund. So 0.04% as an expense ratio, it's probably the lowest that you're ever going to see. All right. So I put my money into something like this and a couple other different types of funds, mutual funds and index funds that kind of give me a nice diversification within the market. And so this way, it'll likely grow over my lifetime about 7% every single year, averaged out. Averaged out. I shouldn't have said every single year, because that just sounds like every year it's going to do that. Averaged out about 7%, okay? So I started this when I was much younger. I should have started it when I was really young, but I just didn't think of it, and I didn't know of it. But the sooner you can start this, the better off you're likely to be in the future. And if you ask people who are in their 30s or 40s, you ask them what some of their biggest regrets may be in terms of finances, and a lot of people are going to say, damn, I wish I started investing at a much younger rate, especially into something like a Roth IRA, which can be great for people who are making smaller amounts of money right now, because you're generally going to be in a lower tax bracket now, and so you're going to pay lower taxes up front on that money that goes into the IRA account, and then in the future, you don't pay any taxes on it. And so it's really convenient to have this account set up. It's so easy to do, and I don't want to just say just do it, but you really should consider doing it after this video. And like I said though, look, if you put $6,000 into it and in the next year it loses $1,000 and you're down to $5,000, just remember that this is a long-term game. This is something that millions of people do. It's a long-term game, and you need to keep your head in that mindset that you're doing this long term. So if you're losing money in the short run, that's okay. Like sometimes I'll see my account go down by $1,000 in a day, and I think, oof, but really I know that over the course of the long term, it goes up, and it does. Okay, so that's essentially this video. If you found any value in it, share this with somebody who you think could benefit from it. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for making it this far in this video. I appreciate it, and I'll see everybody next time.